Hey guys, Goddess here. What's up? Today I'll be revisiting the hot topic, everyone's favorite event, war. After the life region testing, I'm here to update you on how that went. So let me just jump straight into it. Here are some of the things that I think Scopely could have given more thought to in regards to the live region testing. The launch. War started at 1 a.m. Central European Summer Time, which is 6 p.m. US Central and 4 p.m. US Pacific, and this ran for a total of 12 hours, meaning those who were in Europe and typically wake up at about 8 a.m. had almost no opportunity to play, even if it were just to get some points in order to receive the rewards. Unless, of course, they could steal time away from their jobs, it being Thursday and all. Now, I personally feel that 12 hours is too short to test war properly, and it would have been better if the testing period had lasted 24 hours. However, given the late start of these tests and that they still have to action some of the more blatant bugs and glitches still in place if they were to make their projected relaunch of war this weekend, I can understand that Scopely had to limit this testing period. I do think that it would have been better if the Blitz had started at 8 p.m. Central European Summer Time, which is 1 p.m. US Central and 11 a.m. US Pacific. This would have given each time zone a window of, at the very least, 5 hours to test out the supposedly much improved war, if we were to assume that most people get off work at around 6 p.m. The logic is simple. The more people able to participate in the testing, the more accurate the representations of the outcomes from this testing would be. Not all are vocal about their experiences, nor do they always share all of their thoughts. Some are just too happy to have war back to pay attention to the overall functionality of war. Inconsistent war notifications. Some regions got the heads up hours before the Blitz started, while others barely had minutes. They should have synchronized the war notification messages sent out to these regions. Standardizing these announcements would contribute not only to a more professional image of the game developers, but also serve to minimize the number of people being unhappy about things being unfair, since they did not have the same amount of time to assemble the troops. The last point I have here also pertains to inconsistency. Not all regions were offered the Blitz test. However, in the stickied post-War Second update on Scopely forums, there was a lot of back and forth regarding Blitz being rolled out to all regions. The last update was that this was supposed to be available for testing in every single region. This was not the case. The reason? According to Shane, the community manager, it's so that they would be able to contain war as much as possible if needed. Fair enough, I can buy that. In an ideal situation, every region should have been offered to be part of these tests. Again, the more feedback they receive from people, the better. However, what of the players in the regions that were left out? Perhaps they could have been offered another form of faction event with the same or similar prizes. For example, a 12-hour raid tournament or a faction survival role tournament or whatever. This would have gone a long way to show that they do appreciate their players, even if the prizes for the Blitz were not awesome to begin with. Now let's talk about the prizes. My region Jenkins was one of those that could participate in the Blitz War. We were given an assorted number of 5-star recruit tokens, 4-star weapon tokens, and elite item tokens for the different overall faction rank rewards. Milestone rewards were set at 5,000, 10,000, and 15,000 war points, with 4-star recruit tokens, 4-star weapon tokens, and 5-star recruit tokens as rewards, the amount of these varying for each milestone. Given the short duration of this blitz, these were not unreasonable milestones or rewards. Moving on to war itself. Gameplay. First up, Warcan drops. In my previous video, I mentioned that Warcans were not dropping in the beta tests, and that the top 3 scorers of each faction get a Warcan at the end of every match. I am pleased to report that this did not carry over to the live regions. Warcans were dropping while raiding enemy camps as well as strongholds, both during scouting phase and the match itself. The rate of which they dropped was also quite reasonable. Hopefully this stays the same after the relaunch. The final rewards for top scorers at the end of the match were still the same as well. War Can for first, Raid Can for second, and World Can for third, which was also a welcome sight. Strongholds. You still have to be the fastest to kill the 3 waves of zombies at the start of the game to claim the stronghold. Also, I mentioned this in my last video, that you could not apply defense to a stronghold while your camp was destroyed. I'd like to make this very clear. You have to start your repairs before being able to add defense to strongholds. Through my own personal experience, your camp does not need to be finished repairing for you to be able to apply the defense, but it does need to be undergoing repairs at the very least. Final assessments. So for some, war seems to be working without a hitch on their regions, but for many others there were, let's call them hiccups. I have chosen to exclude slow matchups because of the awkward weekday hours the Blitz was active. Some of the issues experienced were visual glitches, people getting kicked out of the war party before the match started despite not leaving, people timing out directly after starting a war raid on an enemy camp, lag issues. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't these some of the exact same issues that caused war to be taken out of the rotation in the first place? So it leaves one to wonder, what exactly have Scopely been doing these 7 weeks? Yes, I am willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. That is, they were indeed fixing some of the bigger things. But come on, 7 weeks and this is all that they have to show for it? The conspiracy theorist in me thinks this, and I'm sure it will be a very unpopular opinion to some. Take away the one event that pretty much is the main focus of every competitive player. I call this removing the distraction. Players will get restless and hopefully look favorably upon ascendance of 5 stars to 6 stars, and with war gone, they might throw themselves into a frenzy over acquiring these 6 stars. Then, deplete everyone's supplies and resources such as world energy cans, raid cans, and gear by overwhelming them with raid and level up tournaments as well as countless roadmaps. Naturally, these roadmaps have to be farmed in order for players to obtain gear for their 6 stars. Oh, while we're at it, let's withhold the normal gear maps that were promised to be offered at regular intervals. Since war is out of rotation, players' supply of raid and world cans, as well as basic tokens and trainers, will be choked. When this is achieved, offer resources at ridiculous prices. Yes, ridiculous prices. Yeah, not many will fall for it, but some desperate few might, and true enough, they have already done so. It's Economics 101, supply and demand. At the same time, make a few questionable choices as a company to flood the game with more 6 stars than was originally announced prior to the launch of Ascendance. Perhaps this will ensure more people being able to destroy each other's camps when war finally relaunches, hence pushing coin sales for instant battles. Sure, Scopely might have been fixing some of the legit issues, but did it really take 7 weeks? Yeah, guys, that was just the weirdo in me talking who doesn't love a good conspiracy theory. Do I really believe in my conspiracy theory? Nah, maybe not, but if it were accurate, then it would be a pretty diabolical move on Scopely's part. Anyway, it seems like war is going to be put back into the rotation for better or for worse. If you have thoughts that you'd like to convey regarding war, I have provided the link to the thread in the forums regarding war feedback. Before I go, a special shout out to my incredible faction in Jenkins. Much love to you, ATL. And as always, I'd like to also thank all my viewers for watching, as well as for indulging me in my conspiracy theories this time. I'm honored by all of your support. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you around.